Okay guys, so today we're going to work in test prep on volume of rectangular prisms. So rectangular prisms are like boxes. So volume is the amount of space in a container. So say for example, you're talking about a cereal box. The volume is how much cereal the box holds. So on our formula chart, we're going to be using the volume formula for prism. So under volume, you're going to go to prism, and we find that volume equals big B times height. So I want you to notice here that we have big B. So usually we've been doing like area equals base times height. Notice here it's a little b. So with volume, you are using big B, and big B means that it's not just the base of something, it's actually the area of the base. It's a calculation that you have to do before plugging it in. Okay, so big B means area of the base. So that's really important for you to know. So big B means area of the base. So that means we're going to find the area of the base and plug it in to our volume formula. So let's go ahead and look at this first problem. It says the base of a prism to the left is 12 inches squared. What is the volume of the prism? Okay, so let's look at our formula chart. So today we're only using volume of a prism. So we're going to write our formula first. So volume equals big B times height. I don't know why that drew a line like that. Okay. So big B times height. So off to the right, you're always going to do your area of the base calculation, okay? And then we're going to plug it back in for B. Now in this case, there's no calculation because it's saying that the base of the prism is 12 inches squared. Well, if it's saying inches squared, we know that that's already the area, okay? So it's providing us with this number. So we don't have to calculate it in this case, but I want you to practice writing it out to the side because most of the time you're going to do the calculation. So then we're going to plug it in for big B, right? Big B is area of the base. So we're going to plug it in for 12. And then height, well, over here the diagram is telling us that the height here is 5 inches. So I'm going to plug that in for height. So now I have volume equals 12 times 5. Well, 12 times 5, in case you don't know it, 12 times 5, 2 times 5 is 10. 1 times 5 is 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. So it's 60. And now with volume, it's going to be inches cubed. So for volume, you always put a little 3 for your units. So cubic inches. Okay, so let's take a look at the next problem. So the next problem says the area of the base in the figure to the right is 20 inches squared. What is the volume of the figure? So it's saying it's 20 inches squared. So that's telling us that the area of the base, okay, and again, we're doing volume of a prism. So we're going to look at our formula chart. So volume equals big B times height. So off to the right, we're always going to write area of the base. And in this case, they gave it to us. We're not having to calculate it. So I'm just going to go ahead and write it so we can practice. And then we're going to plug it back in for big B, okay? So area of the base, it says, is 20. And then we're going to look at our diagram here. It's saying that this dimension here, the height, is 6 inches. So 20 times 6. So 2 times 6 is 12, and then I can add a 0 back on. So 120. If you need to double check, 6 times 0 is 0, 2 times 6 is 12. Okay, so 120 inches cubed. Okay. So just so that you know, sometimes you'll have to label dimensions. So you need to know that this front part is going to be the length, and then how far back it goes would be the width, and then here how tall it is would be the height. Okay, so go ahead and label your diagram like I did, because you need to practice knowing where each dimension is. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the next one. It says the area of the base, the figure to the right, is 10 inches squared. What is the volume? So again, just like we did before, and we aren't cutting any corners, you must write each step. So step 1 is to write the formula. So volume equals big B times height, okay? Again, every time off to the right, we're going to write area of the base. And most of the time we're going to do a calculation. Here again, it's given it. They told us it's 10 inches squared. All right. So I'm going to take that 10 and I'm going to plug it in over here for big B, or area of the base. So 10 times height is 7. Okay. So one thing that I've forgotten to do that we really need to do is the first step. Before we even write in our formula, we should be shading in the base, because it gets confusing when we get into different types of prisms and things as to which side is the base. So you always are going to color in your base, and in this case I'm going to go ahead and label it and say that it's 10 inches squared. Okay, so always our first step is to shade in the base. So 10 times 7 is 70 inches cubed. Okay, so pretty easy so far. We're writing our formula, we're going off to the side, we're writing area of the base as practice, we're plugging that number in for big B because big B represents area of the base. We're multiplying it times the height, and then we're writing our dimensions as cubed. So this is 70 inches cubed. So basically this can hold 70 cubic inches. Okay, so next problem says finding the volume given dimensions. Okay, so this time we aren't given the area of the base. So again, like I said, I've been forgetting to do it. We have to, first step, we're going to shade in the base. So I'm going to go ahead and make this shape a little more three-dimensional to help me out in doing that. Okay. All right. And I'm going to label down here. So looks like there's 12. Looks like here is 4. So 4 inches would be my length. Then my width looks like is 5 inches. Okay. So first step, always color in my base because that's telling me where I'm getting my dimensions from. So then I'm going to write my formula. So formula is volume equals area of the base times height, okay? So off to the right, I have to find the area of the base. So in this case, what shape is our base? Well, our base is a rectangle, right? Because we're doing a rectangular prism. So prisms and things are named based on their base. So this is a rectangular prism. So I need the area of a rectangle. So if we look at our formula chart, we know that area of a rectangle, area equals base times height. So yes, you must write this formula. Because it's a rectangle, we have to write area equals base times height. Next step, we substitute in numbers. So base of this rectangle that I shaded in is 4. And height is 5. So 4 times 5 is 20. So now that I have the area of the base, or the space that the base takes up, now I'm going to plug it back in for big B. So big B is 20. And then the height in this case is how tall the prism is. It's 12. So 20 times 12. So 2 times 12 is 24. And add in my 0. Or you could have gone off here to the side and done 12 times 20. Well, you guys like to do your zeros like that. 0, 2 times 2 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. Okay, so 240. So in this case, the volume is 240 inches cubed, or cubic inches. Okay, let's try the next one. Okay, so it's asking for the volume. So first thing, I'm always going to shade in my base. First step. And guys, this is what you're going to be graded on in test prep. We're going to be grading you on shading in the base. We're going to grade you on writing your formula. We're going to grade you on substituting the numbers. So we need to make sure you really understand the process. And volume of prisms seems pretty easy, and it is with rectangular prisms, but it's going to get harder. So we need to start these steps now. So first step again is always going to be writing our formula. So volume equals big B times height. So off to the right, we're going to write area of the base. All right, so what shape did we shade in? A rectangle, right? So the area of a rectangle is base times height. Notice it's a little b. That means we're just taking the dimension from our diagram. We're not doing a calculation. So big B is different because it's saying it's area of the base. We're doing a calculation. So the little b for the area of the base is 8 times 10. So 8 times 10 is 80. Make sure you're showing all your steps. So now I'm plugging that in for big B. So 80 times height. So it is 8 inches tall. Okay. So 8 times 8 is 64. And then I can add the 0, right? So 80 times 8. 8 times 8 is 64. So it's 640 inches cubed. Okay. Moving right along. So next problem says, what is the volume? So again, what is step 1, guys? Shade in the base. Okay, so step 1 is to shade in the base. Then we're going to write our formula. So volume equals big B times height. Over here, you're going to go ahead and write area of the base. So you guys try this one, press pause, and then you can check it. So we got an area of the base of 15, plugged it in times 7, we got 105 inches cubed.